allowed me the rare opportunity to be extracted with an A-team. We began with a matter-of-fact briefing. As they tied thin ropes around my body, I tried to get a feel for what was about to happen. Once the helicopter lifts soldiers up off the ground, how high do you go?
Well, once they reach a safe height of about 250 feet, that's when he's going to transition to a forward mode of travel. And then he can travel at about 70 knots.
Okay. For Special Forces, this was business as usual.
You're ready, let's go.
Okay. As we moved into position, I could hear the helicopter in the distance.
Now we just wait for the helicopter. When he comes in and drops the rope, we'll run. We're going to be the top hookup.
I always look forward to a glimpse into other people's lives, but when we dropped to our knees, my heart began beating a lot faster. The level of adrenaline in my body really took off when the rope was dropped and the soldiers ran toward it. I could barely stay on my feet because of the 120-mile-per-hour winds generated by the hovering Black Hawk helicopter. We hooked on first in the top position of the 5-man team. The rope went taut, we lifted off, and within seconds, we were flying hundreds of feet above the ground. Are we okay?
You're okay.
Wow, we're going high.
Yeah.
In Special Forces, they say speed is light. So as we flew high above Fort Bragg, I tried to imagine what this would be like if this were a real evacuation. There would be no time to waste, no place for a helicopter to land, and there would most definitely be enemy fire aimed at the soldiers. To get out of a bad situation, the Special Forces soldier would most likely leave everything behind except for his weapon. And while hanging in full view from this rope, the dangling warrior would be firing into the trees, hoping to keep the enemy at bay. In this training mission, I landed safely after only 15 minutes. It was an experience I will remember for the rest of my life. A live ammunition training scenario with an A-team. But first, I had to demonstrate that I could handle a firearm.
Release the bolt, go forward.
I trained with a 7.5-pound rifle known as an M4. Special Forces use this weapon for varied missions, like close quarter battle. The reason? It's accurate and it's lethal.
Good shot. Shooter ready, stand by. Up. Finger off the trigger.
Did you see that?
Good shot. Finger off the trigger. When you have a good sight alignment sight picture, your rounds will always be, hopefully, touching.
Right on target.
Yep.
Deafening, but I forced myself to remain focused. One wrong move and this operation could become a catastrophe. Suddenly, the meaning behind what they call the fog of war became clear. When bullets are flying and smoke is everywhere, nothing is taken for granted.
Room clear! Go. March back.
Does anybody else have their heart beating?
Every time.
Every time? Are you serious?
Yeah.
5. Torpedo evasion. All have flight.
The evasion maneuver is good enough to lessen the torpedo's impact, but we can't outrun the hit. A simulated fire breaks out on board.
Fire torpedo round. Fire torpedo round.
So quickly can smoke spread throughout a sub that everyone on board must be in emergency breathing gear in seconds. Damage control teams are then dispatched.
Pressurize the machinery room fire hose. Fire's out.
House deck, prepare to quick surface for SEAL launch.
One of the least known weapons a sub carries are human beings. The elite Navy SEAL team. Evolved from World War II frogmen, these small commando units are quick strike specialists in everything from explosives to reconnaissance. Under the cover of darkness, subs and SEALs share a distinct advantage. Neither can be seen. I was deployed with SEAL Team 2 in the middle of the ocean and literally hoisted on top of the boat. It was very dark. There's nothing between you and the sea. The footing is treacherous. Water is everywhere. Yet the SEALs maneuver with precision timing. Everything they use, inflatable boats, outboard motors, and weapons, all have to be hauled the 3 stories to the deck and then assembled in minutes. I've come up out of the USS Key West now. We're deploying 2 Zodiac boats, and we'll be going into shore. The only way down, a 15-foot vertical drop into a black hole. To gain intelligence in enemy territory, the SEALs are usually the first in, many times the last out.
We're doing what we call a battle damage assessment of a target area. So the submarine launched that Tomahawk land attack missile, and what we would do, we would go in, land, and verify that they hit the target that they in fact hit.